we're all familiar with Canvas, and this is the website for Instructure, the company that creates Canvas. Canvas is a learning management system, and we've all encountered what it can do and how much you can share what you have in Canvas. You can see that you might be able to get students talking to each other, and perhaps you've found really creative ways to do that with your students that's engaging for them. But one of the big principles that supports the idea of open pedagogy, and we've already talked about this a little bit, is I want to come back to this idea of disposable versus renewable assignments. So when students complete work in your course, if it's submitted through Canvas, it's possible that it's not going to live beyond the time of that semester for that student. What we want to move toward when we're engaging with open pedagogy is more renewable assignments, where not only do students create something and the artifact that they create has value beyond supporting their learning. This is the real big shift, right? Is that someone else will benefit from what the student is doing. So in the case of dental hygiene students taking a course, them developing resources for future students to use to study certain concepts for the exam, it's already valuable beyond their learning. And so they have an audience in mind as they're creating that. If in addition to this, so you could create that resource and just share it with the future class, right? But if you make it public, then other people can see it. And if in addition to making those resources public, you actually put an open license on it, that means that other people can use it and other people can remix that work to continue to customize it for their own purposes. When we want to make renewable assignments, we actually need to start thinking about how we're going to publish that work. And Canvas doesn't allow that as easily. The closest we have in Canvas is the Canvas Commons. You can have modules, assignments, different components of a course, or an entire course available in Canvas Commons. What that does is it makes it so that other people in Canvas can copy the entire course and use it with their students, and they can make changes to that. It's limited to the Canvas platform. So you can't export a course and import it into a different learning management system that isn't Canvas very easily. It would take a lot of work to translate it. Another thing to think about, we have had an open pedagogy fellow in the past create one module. That fellow wanted his engineering students to adopt a more entrepreneurial mindset and developed a module to insert into a course, and then was able to share it with faculty in other courses in engineering so they could insert it into their Canvas course. And the Commons is one way to do that. Now we know we have this goal potentially of creating renewable assignments. This is going to get us a lot of benefits. In addition to being able to customize things for our students, we're also going to be able to make something that motivates our students to create something for other people. And we're contributing to this ecosystem of openly licensed learning materials, or OER. So enter WordPress. And WordPress has been on the scene for a really long time. This is the main website for WordPress.org. It is an openly licensed software. And instead of being called a learning management system, WordPress is often referred to as a content management system. One neat thing about their website, they're 20 years old now. They have highlighted the many different websites here that were built using WordPress. So you can see the wide range of companies that use this. And again, the software is free. You can download it and install it. What you wind up paying for is the cost of hosting and the cost of customizing your design. I'm going to give you the story of how we came to use WordPress in the support of open pedagogy. In order to do that, I want to show you first the CUNY Academic Commons, because this is when essentially it's a platform that was created by and for CUNY faculty, staff, and students, and it's built on WordPress. So what CUNY Commons did years ago is create a way for members of the CUNY university community, and this cuts across many of the schools inside the CUNY system, enabling individual users, students, faculty, to create websites with WordPress on a shared network. So they were connected to one another. So you can see that the Commons is made up of 42,242 members, over 26,000 websites, and these groups and courses. And so you can see some examples of sites that are on the CUNY Academic Commons. What happened about 10 years ago, actually, is that CityTech, one of the schools in the CUNY system, customized this platform, CUNY Academic Commons, customized it for use on their campus. And they created the OpenLab at CityTech, and that also is this sort of software for having a website that contains websites and also makes it easy for people to create websites if they want. So I love CityTech's OpenLab. It inspired me when I first learned about it, and I was very happy to learn that we could install this customized software for our purposes at the University of New Haven. So this is a very inspiring website to see the different things that students are doing and that faculty are doing right now. And you can see here, this is our instance. The power of the platform is that without having to ask anyone, a student, a faculty member, anyone with a University of New Haven email address can come to this URL and create an account. So I'm going to log out of my account now just to sort of illustrate what happens on this site. So we weren't logged in over here at CUNY's OpenLab. And even without being logged in at all, we can still see a number of projects. And can see this teaching portfolio here for Rebecca Mazumdar, who's actually somebody I know from graduate school. And you can see that there's a project site for this faculty member. And I can see all of this even though I'm not a member of this community. This faculty member essentially has a CV and lots of evidence of amazing teaching happening here, right? And I'm not logged into that site at all. That's because this faculty member chose to make the teaching portfolio public so that everyone can see it. There are many, many sites on this CUNY OpenLab system that we don't see here because they've been created by a student or a faculty member who's chosen to keep it private. And the same thing goes here. I'm not logged in right now to this account, and I can see the Music of Texas website created by Eddie Davis's students this past semester. What I'm landing on here when I click on this is the sort of group hub page. So this kind of group is a course, and this gives you the information about the course, and it links to the website that's associated with this course. And it shows here that the course is set to private. So we're not in it. We can't see anything much about the course, but I can click to see the course site. It's open to all visitors. Now, what I recall of Eddie's process here is that he keeps his associated website private until the end of the semester, and then he makes it public. So if we click on the course website, we can see a ton of really exciting work by students. And I know that it's Eddie's decision as an instructor to let students make tons of design decisions and build this site together. And so we can see all of that. And again, we're not logged in at all to OpenLab, but you can see along the top this gray bar. This is sort of reminding us that we're still inside this unewhavendh.org. We're just at a site inside of this larger network of websites. You can go and look at all of the courses created. So you can go through different courses that instructors have created here. You can also look at all of the projects created. There is you can have a lab, have a project. You could have, I'm trying to create, and it's all, if you click on this, actually, this will be an example of something that's set to private, and you can't see the corresponding site because I'm still building it. I'm trying to create a website for the makerspace that will allow them to host training videos for the equipment that's there. Here you can see that there is a project called Schaub Makerspace. You can see the avatar for that. So I made that image, or I uploaded that image. But you can't see any of the activity in the site because I've chosen to keep it private for now. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to log in. If you haven't used OpenLab before, you can click to sign up. You'll need to sign up, and then you'll need to look for an email in your inbox to verify your email address before you can actually log in. What I want to do is go to courses, and here I can click to create or clone a course. If I clicked clone existing, and this is one of the features of openly licensing things, these platforms make it easy for you to create an exact copy of something someone else has done, so then you can further customize it. So you can see that actually a lot of the websites that I've created in the past, I've set it up so that people can clone those courses. I'm not going to do that right now because I want to show you all the steps from the very bare bones of creating a site. And so I am going to say create new. And I'm going to say representations of nature. That's the course that I'm creating. When I click in here, it's going to just auto populate this with the URL with no spaces based on the name that I've chosen. And I like that. And I'm going to come back later to upload an avatar for this course. You can do it right away or you can come back later. Essentially, the avatar is what is going to show. So this image, if you don't put an image, this is what's going to show. If you add your own custom image, this is how it will look, right? So students who are creating portfolios will put their picture. So I want to create a new representations of nature. I'm not going to do an avatar right now, and I'm going to say description coming. I can change this. I don't have to give the description right now as I set it up. So here's the first thing that comes up. This is not the website yet, but this is just the hub page. So let me just show you. This is when you click on a course, the page that you land on says this groups and then the name of your course. This page's privacy settings is what I'm deciding on right now. And I'm going to make it private. It's tricky if you choose to make it hidden. It's sometimes hard for you to even go back and find it later. But private is nice because once you create it that way, students can find it and they can request to join it. I'm setting that to private. Create and continue. And what it's asking me now is, do I want to set up a website that is associated with the course? And to me, that's the whole reason we're using this platform, is because we want to have a website for the course built with WordPress. And so, yes, I do want to create a new site. And the URL, you'll notice, is just unewhavendh.org/representations of nature. And that group was that exact same URL, but with groups in right in here. So that's good to remember. You can always get back to it easily. So the associated site also has privacy settings. So I am going to say, I want to keep this associated site hidden for now. I don't want anybody to be able to see it until I build it, right? Until it's done. At the end of the semester, I'll come back into my settings and I'll make it public. Or honestly, I make mine public before the semester starts, but that's a choice I can make at any time. So you can hide it. Nobody really sees it at all. Only people who belong to the OpenLab community can see it, but not others. Or everyone who goes to the URL can see it. And then I just keep all of this standard. This has to do with so the group members are the students who join the course. And when I teach a course like this, I have students compose blog posts. And so they have a setting of author. I could make them all administrators, which means all of them could do all of the work designing the site, but they'd be overwriting each other's decisions all the time. And that's a little bit much to manage. So I just keep the settings like this. I don't usually have group moderators or group administrators, but if I did, this would be fine. So now it's saying I can invite members to my course, and I'm not going to do that yet. If I had any people who I knew were already on OpenLab, I could invite them to the course, but I don't need to worry about that. I don't need any members in my course right now to get started. So I'm just going to click finish. And you'll see that this went well. Now, I always tell my students, because they wind up joining OpenLab, one feature of this software that I don't like is that when things are done well, you get a red alert. It always is alarming. But what we have here is the pretty basic setup. If I were to click on settings, you'll see that all those decisions I just made, I can keep adjusting them. So I can change the settings for the course. I can make the course have a different description. I can associate it with different departments. I can change these things that I put in provisionally, and I can change the privacy settings. So here I'm on the course settings tab here, and then within the settings tab, I have these other tabs. So right now I'm on course details, but if I click on site details, so again, I'm looking at my course page, I'm on settings, and then I'm clicking site. Here's the associated site. All right, so this is a very basic WordPress site. And you can keep it just like this. You can have students create blog posts, and you'll see a list of all their posts as they create them right here. This is the dashboard. The main thing I want you to see is that a WordPress dashboard has a very particular look. And a WordPress site is made up of pages, which are kind of constant information that doesn't have a date attached to it. Posts, which is dated, and an author for that post is listed. And all the media that's uploaded. Usually this is primarily images, but it can also be music if you're not embedding or streaming music on the site. The appearance is how you customize things, and you can see that you can choose from a number of themes to change the look of your site. And that's something that I think we should kind of go through together. If you're going to play with using OpenLab, then let us talk together about what you want it to look like and what theme might be best for you. The Fluida theme is the one I most typically use, but it has the most customizability, and that actually can make it more challenging to use when you're just getting started. You can begin making a website and then change the theme of the website a year in. And all the same content, all the pages, the posts, and the media will all be there, but the look of all of those things will change depending on the theme you have associated with the site. So that's about all I want to say about WordPress for now. The next thing I want to talk about is Pressbooks, which is also built on WordPress. So Pressbooks allows you to create an open or a digital book. Instead of a website, this is the website for my course, my first year writing course, a website that has headings across the top. And potentially, though I don't use it here, a kind of like scrolling front page that has a lot of content on it. You might not want to make a website. You might want to make an open textbook or something that looks like a book. And Pressbooks is built on WordPress, but it's customized to be chapters instead of pages and posts. And so this is the Pressbooks website. And there's lots of information here and a ton of resources on how Pressbooks works. But the important thing for you to know, and it's very exciting that this has happened over the course of this grant, we now have a network for Pressbooks at the University of New Haven, which means that you can create a Pressbook if you would like to. It's not quite the same as with OpenLab. You can't create your account from the homepage. And the reason is we don't want lots of Pressbooks just being built without support. We actually want you to work with the library and to make an agreement about what you're building and what kind of support you need for that. And we want to work with you on that. So if you want to build in Pressbooks, all you have to do is let me know, let Lauren Slingleff know, and we'll work with IT to get you an account so you can log in. Now, I am currently logged in. I have an account and I have created a textbook in our network of Pressbooks already. So I'm just going to show you quickly that the admin side of Pressbooks looks very similar to the dashboard side of WordPress. So this is sort of like a list of websites, essentially. And this is the list. This is the landing page for all of my books. You can see them all listed here. And I could create a book, or I could pick a book that already exists, create a copy of it, and start customizing it for my students from here. So I can create or I can clone. I want to just show you quickly that this is the one I've been working on the most, is an open edition of a text that I assign my students. And you can see that once you get into the book, there's organize, which is the main kind of structure of your chapters, front matter, and it would be something like chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3 in most cases, but I'm structuring this like an edition. So I have front matter, reading edition, and then some extra resources from my students. There are, like in WordPress, there are themes. And so that typically has to do with you're just seeing different looking books, right? The look of the book is different, primarily because the layout and the font is different. So that is something that you can change. And that's the main thing I want to show you right now. What I would want to know is if you want to work in Pressbooks, that you let us know and we'll get you an account so you can start building as soon as possible. So we can do this ahead of time. Similarly, though, I should mention this book of mine is set to public right now, but you can make a book private. You can also make particular chapters in a book private. So, OpenLab and Pressbooks. Now, the final thing that I want to show you is a plugin for both of these tools and beyond. H5P, which I've talked to some of you about. This is the Wikipedia article that explains that, like WordPress, it's free, it's open source. H5P is not a platform, though. It's a collaboration framework for designing things that are built on JavaScript and work with HTML5. Essentially, what this means is you can use H5P to build things that you can put on any website that uses HTML. And the way to do that in OpenLab or in Pressbooks is to enable on your website the H5P plugin. So to show you H5P, I'm going to show you it here in this newly created Representations of Nature course. I'm going to go to Plugins, and I'm going to scroll down till I see H5P, and I'm going to click to activate it. And we can talk more if any of you have questions about what plugins are and how they work, but I'm going to try to resist the urge to over-explain this. So the second that I clicked to activate that, I got this new section of my dashboard. So I click on H5P content, and what I'm going to do here is it says no H5P content available. You must upload or create new content. So I'm just going to click Add New. And I need to learn what this hub is. In order for the hub to do this, it has to communicate with h5p.org. It's going to give some data, so I have to give permission. And so I consent. Give me the hub. And once I have the hub, then I can see the same thing that I could look at on this page, which I strongly encourage you to look at this H5P examples and downloads page. There are so many interesting content types. And another thing that I didn't show you, but if you're in Pressbooks, you can search for all of the books that are available in Pressbooks using this directory. And you can also choose to search for them, search for books that have, you could just say one H5P activity. So I want to see all of the books that use H5P. If you click right here, this is the Pressbooks directory. And so I've said I'd like to see all the books that have H5P activities. And if I click here, I can preview the H5P activities. And it just shows me that there's a multiple choice question and this is how it works, right? So this open textbook built with Pressbooks has these H5P activities in it. I like that whenever I'm searching, and it also can help you learn what's available in H5P. But another way to do it is to be at the h5p.org website and look at all of the types. A couple that I really enjoy. I just was learning about this Cornell Notes one that's pretty cool. essentially it creates a situation where inside your page of your open textbook or your website, you can have a little window that allows you to put a video, but also have kind of like a notes section that encourages students to type. And the students can then access the notes that they take while they engage with your textbook after the fact. So I'm going to be playing around with Cornell notes. Another one that some fellows have really enjoyed, interactive video. So this is a really good one. You basically add these content spots where inside the video, you get to this point and this is going to pop up, and then you can take a quiz, right? And that's pretty neat. We're here in OpenLab. I've just enabled the H5P plugin, and I've just started to create my first bit of content. And the one I want to create here is a multiple choice question. And so I'm going to say get, and I'm going to say install. And now I'm going to use it. And so I've gotten that from H5P. It's communicated with h5p.org to get that. And then test question 1 is correct. 2 is not correct. I'm going to add another option. 3 is not correct. I'm going to give this is like the feedback that you could give. And 4 is not correct. This is like really bad. I'm just doing it quickly. There's all kinds of behavioral settings that you can put in place. This is, I'm sure, very similar to creating tests inside Canvas. We've done all this, and I'm going to look over here to create this multiple choice. Oops. Test quiz. All right, so what happens once I create this thing? So the thing here is if I want to use this in a web page on this website, all I need is this short code. So I'm just copying that short code, and I'm going to go back to these pages, and I'm going to do an edit. I'm going to add short code, and I put the short code like this. Now, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to put it that way or if I'm supposed to get rid of the bracket, so I'm going to try it with the bracket. And what I'm going to do is preview this page. Yay, I was correct. So do you see how that short code that I created from the dashboard, if all I did was put that on the page, it shows up and it's interactive. All right, so it's not really giving you a very wonderful, robust example, but I want to show you that in Pressbooks, it works in the same way. Back in my dashboard for Pressbooks, and I want to go to plugins. You can see that H5P is activated already, but if you went to plugins in your book and you clicked activate, you would be able to get there, which means I can, just like in WordPress, come down here to H5P content. If I actually go to add new, just the same way here in Pressbooks, I have the same H5P hub. I can use any kind of H5P content. I can download it. I can add my content. The way I would use it in another website is actually embed. I could use this embed code and put it anywhere. But to use the short code, it needs to be in the same site as where the plugin is activated. And definitely let me know if any of this doesn't make sense. So hopefully this gives you an idea of how you can get started with either OpenLab. Let me know if you want us to establish an account in Pressbooks for you so you can start playing in there. And also H5P anywhere, really.